Namaste to everyone. In this discussion, we are going to analyze the fourth poem of our poetic description of Lord Venkateswara's face as honey in comparing with the different civilizations. While I am preparing my talk on Sanatana Dharma, how old it is, I have compared Sanatana Dharma some of the ancient civilizations like Egypt, Greek, and different cultures. During that time, I came to know Sanatana Dharma is as old as mankind itself. See my one of the lectures from the YouTube channel about this comparison with different civilization of Sanatana Dharma. And also, while I am referring the Mahabharata, I have observed that Bhimasena, the brother of Pandavas, visited Tirumala temple to have darshan of Lord Sri Venkateswara. I never know that Bhimasena has visited Tirumala hills in worshipping Lord Vishnu form of Sri Venkateswara. So, keeping in that mind, the poem is composed on Lord Sri Venkateswara, that is divine purity of honey in ancient Egypt, civilizations, and Sri Venkateswara, a bridge between the mortal and the divine. This is how I have been attracted and forced me to prepare this poem. Now, let us analyze this poem in detail for a clear understanding of the common devotee. Zero. In Egyptian sands, in the ancient days, honey symbolized the gods' pure ways, a gift from heaven, a soul's embrace, preserving a life with sacred grace. Honey has been revered across ancient cultures for its purity, sweetness, and life-preserving qualities, making it a powerful symbol of divine grace. In ancient Egypt, honey was considered a sacred gift from the gods, symbolizing immortality, purity, and spiritual nourishment. Similarly, in Sanatana Dharma, the divine qualities of Lord Sri Venkateswara often described with metaphors of sweetness, grace, and eternal sustenance. Much like honey, honey's ability to nourish and preserve mirrors the Lord's compassion. His divine presence uplifts and protects his devotees. Just as honey is used in ancient rituals and offering to represent divine blessings, the sacred prasadams offered to Lord Sri Venkateswara reflects his spiritual sweetness and grace. This comparison between honey and the divine invites us to seek purity in our hearts, sweetness in our devotion, and a deeper connection with the divine presence in our lives. This poetic verse provides a profound glimpse into the cultural, spiritual, and symbolic significance of honey in ancient Egypt, intertwining its essence with divinity and eternal life. The verse unfolds multiple layers of meaning, and through its references to Egypt's sands, honey, and sacred grace, it portrays honey as more than a natural substance. It becomes a bridge between the mortal and the divine. Below, we explore the meaning and cultural context and interpretation of each line in detail. Honey has long been revered across ancient civilizations for its sweetness, preservation, qualities, and healing abilities. In ancient Egypt, honey was associated with immortality. Honey's natural preservative qualities made it symbolic of eternal life. Egyptians placed honey in tombs, believing it would nourish the soul in the afterlife. Purity. Since honey resists decay, it symbolized incorruptibility and divine perfection. Healing. Honey's medicinal properties led to its use in healing rituals, reflecting divine care and compassion. Let us compare the first line of the poem. In Egypt's sands, in ancient days. The opening of line sets the scene in ancient Egypt, a civilization renowned for its profound spirituality, architectural marvels, and connection to the natural world. Egypt's vast sands symbolize the enduring and timeless nature of its culture, while ancient days evokes a sense of reverence for the wisdom and practice of ancestors. Significance of Egypt sands, eternal landscape. The sands of Egypt symbolizes permanence and continuity, much like the enduring influence of honey in their culture. Foundation of civilization. Egypt's geography, particularly the Nile River, surrounds by arid deserts, shaped its people's reliance on nature for survival and spirituality. Metaphor for timelessness. The sands act as a metaphor for the eternal truths of life and death that Egyptians sought to understand and navigate. By referring Egypt's sands, the verse hints at the environment that shaped the Egyptian symbolic worldview, where even sustenance like honey acquired divine attributes. The second line of this poem is honey symbolizes the God's pure ways. This line connects honey with purity and divinity, reflects and esteemed status in Egyptian spirituality. Honey was considered a sacred gift from the gods, embodying their essence and serving as a medium through which humans could connect with the divine. Honey's symbolism in ancient Egypt. Gods of the gift. Honey was believed to have originated from the tears of Ra, the sun god. According to mythology, when Ra wept, his tears transformed into bees, which produced honey. Thus, honey became a divine substance. See the beauty of this line. God's Son has given us the divine honey as a sacred for us. And purity and preservation. Honey's natural purity and resistance to spoilage symbolized immortality and incorruptibility qualities associated with the gods. Offering to deities. Honey was used in religious rituals and as an offering to deities, symbolizing devotion and seeking favor. God's pure ways. The gods were seen as embodiment of cosmic order, that is Ma, and purity, constantine with human flows, and mortality. Honey with its unspoiled sweetness and golden hue becomes a metaphor for their benevolent and perfect nature. The third line of the poem is a gift from heaven, a soul's embrace. This line elevates honey from a material substance to a spiritual blessing. It describes honey as a heavenly gift that nourishes not just as the body but the soul, aligning it with the divine will and providing solace in times of need. Gift from heaven, divine origin. The belief that honey was connected to celestial force is central to many ancient cultures. For Egyptians, the idea that bees were born from Ra tears reinforced honey's divine nature. Connection to the afterlife. Honey was placed in the tombs to accompany the deceased, symbolizing sustenance and guidance in the afterlife. Its inclusions in funerary practices underscores its role as a gift that transcends earthly existence. The phrase soul embrace, that is healing and nourishment. Honey's properties as a natural preservative and healer made it a symbol of spiritual nourishment. Its sweetness was believed to comfort the soul and align it with divine harmony. Embrace of the divine. The phrase evokes a sense of being enveloped by the God's love and grace, with honey serving as a tangible manifestation of their care. The fourth line of this poem is preserving life with sacred grace. The final line emphasizes honey's role in the preservation of life, both physically and spiritually. In ancient Egypt, honey's ability to resist decay made it powerful symbol of immortality and sacredness. Now let us look into each aspect of this preservation of life, what it says. Mummification. Honey was used to embrace practices to preserve the bodies of the deceased, ensuring their transition to the afterlife. Its antimicrobial properties made it an ideal substance for this purpose. Eternal sustenance. Honey inclusion in offering and tombs provisions highlights its role as a sustainer of life beyond death. Sacred grace. Divine protection. The phrase sacred grace implies the protective and nurturing qualities of the gods extended to humans through honey. It suggests that honey was a medium through which divine grace was bestowed upon the humanity. Spiritual purification. Honey's association with purity made it tool for cleansing rituals, symbolizing removal of sin and restoration of harmony. Here an attempt has been made to compare honey, a sacred symbol in Egyptian culture, and compared with the Lord Sri Venkateswara's grace. In the golden sands of ancient Egypt, honey was more than just a sweet substance. It was seen as a gift from the heavens, a drop of divine nectar. The Egyptians believed honey was born from the tears of Ra, the sun god, transforming its bees that carried the sweetness of the divine. Honey represented purity, eternal life, and divine protection, as it never spoiled and was believed to preserve both the body and the soul. In the sacred hills of Tirumala, where Lord Sri Venkateswara resides, honey too holds profound spiritual significance. Just as honey was offered in ancient Egyptian temples as a symbol of divine favor, it plays a central role in Abhishekam, sacred bath of Lord Sri Venkateswara, signifying the sweetness of divine grace and the eternal blessings Lord Venkateswara showers upon his devotees. Sri Venkateswara, the presiding deity of Tirumala, is often described in the scriptures with qualities that closely parallel the symbolic attributes of honey. Sweetness as divine compassion, that is Madhurya Bhava. Just as honey is sweet and nourishing, Sri Venkateswara is often described as the embodiment of divine compassion and grace. His presence offers spiritual comfort, much like how honey smooths the body. Bhagavad Gita describes the Lord Mahavishnu or Sri Venkateswara's all-encompassing care like this. Anannancintayanto mam ye janaha paripupasate tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyaham. Meaning of this sloka is, to those who are devoted to me with exclusive devotion, I provide both their needs and spiritual upliftment. Sri Venkateswara is often described as a Karuna Murti, that is the embodiment of compassion whose mere darshan can dissolve the sorrows of the devotees. Honey as a purity and Sri Venkateswara's divine beauty. Honey's purity mirrors the divine beauty of Lord Sri Venkateswara, described in poetic verses like Suprabhatam and Alvar Pasurams. His face, radiating golden brilliance, is often compared to precious jewels and divine nectar, that is Amrita. For example, the comparison of Lord's face to honey is reflected in the famous verse. Kamala kujachuchuka kunkumato niyataru nitatala nilatano kamala yachalochana lokapate vijayi bhava venkata sailapate. This is from Sri Venkateswara Suprabhatam, which means his face and form radiates like divine fragrance and beauty, such like the essence of pure honey. Honey as a preserver, Sri Venkateswara as the eternal protector. Honey preservative nature symbolizes divine protection and the eternal aspect of Lord Sri Venkateswara. He safeguards dharma, that is righteousness across ages. The Tirumala temple's tradition of offering sacred Panchamrita, a mixture of honey, ghee, sugar, milk, and curd during rituals. Honey here represents not just a physical nourishment but a spiritual preservation, keeping the devotees connected to divinity. Just as honey was offered to Egyptian deities, honey is a vital ingredient in the offerings made to Lord Sri Venkateswara, such as Panchamrita and Abhishekam. These offerings symbolize the sweetness of divine love and the purity of devotion. Practical reflections for devotees. Symbol of sweetness in speech. Devotees can learn from honey's sweetness, aspiring to speak kind and uplifting words. just as Sri Venkateswara's presence uplifts devotees spiritually. Purity and devotion, just as honey remains pure, true bhakti, that is devotion, should be free from ego and selfish desires. Surrender to Lord Sri Venkateswara with a pure heart brings divine blessings. Healing power of faith. Like honey's healing properties, faith in Sri Venkateswara is believed to heal spiritual distress and grant peace of mind. Purity and divine origin. In Egypt, honey's purity was seen and untouched by corruption, reflecting the unblemished nature of gods. It was believed that honey could preserve life, keeping it free from decay, making it a symbol of divine perfection. Sri Lord Venkateswara embodies absolute purity, that Nirmala Swarupa. His presence in these sacred Tirumala hills, untouched by worldly impurities, reflects the divine purity representing by honey. The honey offered during Lord Venkateswara's Abhishekam mirrors Venkateswara's faultless divine nature. In comparing the sweetness, it shows in Egypt, the Egyptians offer honey to their gods as a token of gratitude, believing it represented divine kindness and protection. The sweetness of honey was a metaphor for the gods' mercy and the joy they bestowed on humanity. For Lord Sri Venkateswara, compassion is boundless like the sweetness of honey. His mercy flows unconditionally, comforting his devotees in times of sorrow. Lord Venkateswara's divine grace sweetens the lives of those who surrender to him, just as honey soothes and brings peace. Comparing preservation of eternal life with Egypt and Lord Sri Venkateswara, honey was offered placed in the tombs of pharaohs, as it symbolized eternal life and the soul's journey. Its ability to resist decay and made it a symbol of immortality and divine protection. Lord Venkateswara is worshipped as a Sheshasayi, that is, eternal protector. His divine presence ensures the preservation of righteousness, that is, Dharma. Just as honey was placed in the tombs of spiritual continuity, the prasadams offered in Tirumala, such as Panchamrita containing honey, serves as a spiritual preservative, blessing devotees with eternal protection and liberation, that is, moksha. In comparing healing and spiritual nourishment, Egyptian civilization, honey was used for healing, both physical and spiritual. It was believed to carry the essence of divine health, curing ailments and purifying the body. Lord Sri Venkateswara is the ultimate healer, both of worldly sufferings and spiritual ignorance. His prasadam, often infused with honey, is believed to carry healing energy, blessing devotees with physical healing and spiritual clarity. Just as honey was applied on wounds for healing in ancient Egypt, faith in Sri Venkateswara soothes the wounds of the heart and mind. Honey as a bridge between the mortal and divine. Egypt civilization. The Egyptians saw honey as a sacred link between the divine and human worlds. Its golden glow mirrored the radiance of the sun god, Ra, reminding them of the divine presence in nature. In Lord Venkateswara's Panchamrita, in the Pancharatra Agama, honey offered during worship is symbol of surrender and divine love. Just as honey connected to the Egyptians to their gods, it connects devotees of Lord Sri Venkateswara to the divine realm. The offering of honey is his Abhishekam, represents the devotee's submission to the Lord, seeking his eternal grace. Now let us look into the final reflections of Egyptian civilization with Lord Venkateswara's comparison. Honey in both ancient Egyptian spirituality and the worship of Lord Venkateswara symbolizes the divine sweetness, purity, healing and eternal life. Whether placed in the tombs of Egyptian pharaohs for protection in the afterlife or offered at the feet of Lord Venkateswara in Tirumala temple, honey remains a powerful reminder of the divine's loving presence in our lives. As honey nourishes the body, Lord Venkateswara's grace nourishes the soul. As honey preserves life, his blessings preserves dharma. Just as honey never spoils, the love of Lord Venkateswara is eternal guiding. Lord Venkateswara's devotees through every challenge towards liberation and divine bliss. Let us remember, when we taste the sweetness of honey or receives the prasadam from Tirumala, Sri Venkateswara's temple, it is not just a physical substance but a sacred link to the divine, reminding us of the eternal grace and compassion of Lord Sri Venkateswara. Here, by this analysis, we come to know the origin of honey and honey bees came from sun god tears. See the beauty. When you are analyzing in depth analysis by way of doing research, we can know the facts, how each aspect of the nature being created by gods. We will be having a different discussion on how honey is created. The Lord Sri Venkateswara is old as almost all the civilizations in the world. You have seen my video on Bhima's visit to Tirumala. It shows that in Dwapara Yuga itself, Lord Venkateswara was there as Mahavishnu in Tirumala hills. I hope you have enjoyed this analysis on this poem about comparing the Egyptian civilization with Lord Sri Venkateswara's. I request you, please forward this discussion to your friends and relatives and group people to understand the culture and civilization. Thank you for viewing this discussion. I hope we will meet you in the next discussion in the next episode. Thank you very much.